So today we are doing the remaining part of beginning and growth of cinema. Part 1 we did the other day. Today we are doing part 2. You know, the Edison Manufacturing Company established its own kinetograph studio at West Orange, New Jersey. The Edison Manufacturing Company established or put up or set up its own studio. Which studio? Kinetograph studio. Kinetograph studio at West Orange, New Jersey. Now, Edison is a manufacturing company. Kinetograph studio, New Jersey, America, New Jersey, West Orange, the first motion picture studio named Black Maria was constructed by Dixon in 1893. The very first motion picture studio named Black Maria was constructed by Dixon in the year 1893. You know Dixon, Laurie Dixon. See, which is the first motion picture studio? The first motion picture studio is Black Maria. Who constructed? It was constructed by Dixon. In which year? In 1893. 1893 Laurie Dixon. അദ്ദേഹത്തിന്റെ ബ്ലാക്ക് മാരിയ എന്ന് പറയുന്ന മോഷൻ പിക്ചർ സ്റ്റുഡിയോ സ്ഥാപിച്ചു. മോഷൻ പിക്ചർ സ്റ്റുഡിയോ. വാട്ട് ഈസ് ദ നെയിം ഓഫ് ദി സ്റ്റുഡിയോ? വൺസ് അഗൈൻ ഐ ആം ആസ്കിംഗ്. ബ്ലാക്ക് മാരിയ. ഇൻ വിച്ച് ഇയർ? ഇൻ 1893. These motion pictures exhibited in the kinetoscope or kinetograph. Kinetoscope and kinetograph are one and the same things. The apparatus kinetograph is also called kinetoscope. These motion pictures or moving pictures exhibited in the kinetoscope parlors could not be used for narrative purposes. Narrative films, lengthy narrative films or films which expressed stories could not be exhibited through the kinetoscope parlors, the kinetoscope studios. അപ്പോൾ ഈ കൈനറ്റോസ്കോപ്പ് സ്റ്റുഡിയോ എഡിസന്റെ ആയാലും ഡിക്സന്റെ ആയാലും കൈനറ്റോസ്കോപ്പ് സ്റ്റുഡിയോസിലൂടെ ആ പാർലേഴ്സിലൂടെ നീണ്ട നാരറ്റീവ് ഫിലിംസ് പ്രദർശിപ്പിക്കാൻ സാധിക്കുമായിരുന്നില്ല. So these motion pictures exhibited in the kinetoscope parlors could not be used for narrative purposes, but recorded only. The kinetoscope was used for brief performances. They recorded. They took the images of brief performances of dancers. The kinetoscope exhibited or showed brief performances, very short performances of dancers. ചില നൃത്ത പ്രകടനങ്ങൾ or acrobats. Acrobats means entertainer who performs spectacle gymnastic feats. വലിയ സർക്കസ് പോലെയുള്ള ജിംനാസ്റ്റിക് ഫീറ്റ്സ് കാണിക്കുന്ന അക്രോബാറ്റ്സിന്റെ ഏതെങ്കിലും പ്രകടനങ്ങൾ. ആൻഡ് സം സ്ലാപ്സ്റ്റിക് കോമഡി സ്കിറ്റ്സ്. അതർവൈസ് സം സ്ലാപ്സ്റ്റിക് കോമഡീസ്. സ്ലാപ്സ്റ്റിക്, വാട്ട് ഈസ് സ്ലാപ്സ്റ്റിക്? സ്ലാപ്സ്റ്റിക്സ് കോമഡി ഓർ സ്റ്റാൻഡ് ബൈസ് കോമഡി. സ്ലാപ്സ്റ്റിക് കോമഡി ഈസ് എ സ്റ്റൈൽ ഓഫ് ഹ്യൂമർ ഇൻവോൾവിംഗ് എക്സാജറേറ്റഡ് ഫിസിക്കൽ ആക്ടിവിറ്റി. ശരീരം ഇളക്കിയുള്ള പഴുത്തൊലിയിൽ തെന്നി വീഴുന്നു, അല്ലെങ്കിൽ അങ്ങോട്ട് ഓടുന്നു, ഇങ്ങോട്ട് ചാടുന്നു, കുട്ടിക്കരണം അറിയുന്നു. അപ്പൊ അങ്ങനെ ശരീരം ഇളക്കിയുള്ള ആ ഹ്യൂമറിനാണ് സ്ലാപ്സ്റ്റിക് കോമഡി എന്ന് പറയുന്നത്. അപ്പൊ എന്താ കാണിച്ചിരുന്നത്? ത്രൂ കൈനറ്റോസ്കോപ്പ് ദി ബ്രീഫ് പെർഫോമൻസസ് ഓഫ് ഡാൻസേഴ്സ് ഓർ അക്രോബാറ്റ്സ് ഓർ സം സ്ലാപ്സ്റ്റിക് കോമഡി സ്കിറ്റ്സ്. What is slapstick? It is a style of comedy or humor involving exaggerated physical activity. These crude, unedited version of motion pictures, these were very crude and unedited. There was no provision, there was no facility for editing these short pictures or brief pictures, brief films taken. These crude, unedited version of motion pictures served the sole purpose of entertainment. You know, the kinetoscope exhibited the motion pictures just for the entertainment. They were very crude, unedited version of motion pictures, brief motion pictures. They served for the only purpose, the sole purpose of entertainment. Now let us see some of these brief pictures, brief films shown through the kinetoscope. Some of the notable titles means names of short films. Some of the notable or famous noteworthy titles are Chinese Laundry. Chinese Laundry. The Gaiety Girls Dancing, the dancing of happy girls, Gaiety Girls. കുറെ ഉല്ലാസവതികളായ സ്ത്രീകളുടെ നൃത്തം. Trained bears. ട്രെയിൻ ചെയ്ത കരടികളുടെ ചില ദൃശ്യങ്ങൾ. Then Blacksmith Scene. It was a short film. It was a brief film exhibited through the kinetoscope in the year 1893. Blacksmith Scene. Dentist Scene. And Highland Dance. It is a special kind of dance in the form of a competition. It was released, it was shown through the kinetoscope in the year 1894, April 1894. Which brief film was shown? Which short film was shown? Highland Dance. So some of the notable titles which were shown through the kinetoscope were Chinese Laundry, the Gaiety Girls Dancing, Trained Bears, Blacksmith Scene, which was shown in the year 1893, Dentist Scene, and Highland Dance. Highland Dance was shown in April 1894. Many in Europe and America attempted to design to perfect the projection of a series of photographs. At this time, innovations were being made. People were trying to make inventions and innovative attempts. They were making innovative attempts for what? Many in Europe and America attempted to design to perfect. They were trying their maximum to perfect the projection, exhibition of a series of photographs. Through the projection it becomes motion picture. So many people were trying to perfect this motion picture. The English inventor William Freese Green, the man from England, the English inventor William Freese Green, he was a professional photographer. William Freese Green was an English professional photographer and also a French scientist. Not only William Freese Green and the French scientist Louis Aime Augustin Leprins. Frenchman. His period was from 1841 to 1890. He was a French artist and inventor of motion picture camera. So remember Louis Aime Augustin Leprins. He was French artist and inventor of motion picture camera. Remember this. So who are the two persons who tried to perfect the motion picture? The first man, who was the English inventor William Freese Green, a professional photographer, and the French scientist Louis Aime Augustin Leprins are some of the names worth mentioning. The French artist and inventor of motion picture camera Louis Aime Augustin Leprins and the English inventor William Freese Green. They were the names worth mentioning in the advancement of the motion picture camera or the motion picture. Then the real evolution comes when the Lumiere brothers. Who are the Lumiere brothers? Auguste Lumiere and Louis Lumiere, the Frenchmen. the Lumiere brothers, Auguste Lumiere and Louis Lumiere, who operated a factory for manufacture of photographic equipment. They were having a factory for the manufacturing of photographic equipment. They were making films and other equipment regarding photography. Where in Lyons, France, in the place called Lyons in France, they designed a device. They designed a machine, an important machine, which turned over a new leaf in the evolution of cinematic history. That is, the two brothers, the French brothers, Auguste Lumiere and Louis Lumiere, they were running a factory of photographic equipment in Lyons, France. They designed the cinematograph. It was really a turning point in the development of film industry. Cinematograph. CINEMATOGRAPHE. Cinematograph. It was the apparatus or machine or the device made by the Lumiere brothers. Cinematograph. Remember the name of the apparatus? Dear students, what is the name of the apparatus? Cinematograph. Spelling CINEMATOGRAPHE. Cinematograph. So it is an important device. See, what is the cinematograph invented by or designed by the Lumiere brothers, Auguste Lumiere and Louis Lumiere? Cinematograph was a portable apparatus which could be carried. Cinematograph was a portable apparatus which combined the camera. One of its ingredients, one of its constituent parts was the camera. Then the projector, another factor, another entity, the projector, and the film printer. These three combined into one, that is cinematograph. Cinematograph was a portable apparatus, portable machine which combined the camera, the projector, the film printer. The cinematograph എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാൽ ആ ഒരു ഡിവൈസിൽ ഏതെല്ലാം ഘടകങ്ങളാണ് ഉള്ളത്? ക്യാമറയുണ്ട്, മൂവി ക്യാമറ, പ്രൊജക്ടർ, എക്സിബിഷന് സഹായിക്കുന്ന പ്രൊജക്ടർ ഉണ്ട്, and the film printer. The major contribution was that the cinematograph established the standard for silent films as 16 frames per second. The major contribution of the cinematograph was that it established the standard for silent films as 16 frames per second. ഏറ്റവും പ്രധാനപ്പെട്ട ഇതിന്റെ കോൺട്രിബ്യൂഷൻ എന്ന് പറയുന്നത് സിനിമാറ്റോഗ്രാഫ് എന്ന് പറയുന്ന ഡിവൈസിന്റെ ഏറ്റവും പ്രധാനപ്പെട്ട കോൺട്രിബ്യൂഷൻ ഇത് സൈലന്റ് മൂവീസിന് ഒരു സ്റ്റാൻഡേർഡ് കൽപ്പിച്ചു. ഒരു സെക്കൻഡില് 16 ഫ്രെയിംസ് എടുക്കണം. ഒരു സെക്കൻഡില് 16 ഫ്രെയിംസിലെ ഇമേജസ് സൈലന്റ് ഫിലിംസിലുണ്ടായിരിക്കണം. അങ്ങനെ ഒരു സ്റ്റാൻഡേർഡ് കൊണ്ടുവന്നത് ഈ സിനിമാറ്റോഗ്രാഫ് എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞ ലൂമിയർ ബ്രദേഴ്സിന്റെ ഉപകരണമാണ്. So the major contribution was that the cinematograph established the standard for silent films as 16 frames per second. Workers leaving the Lumiere factory, the title of a show. The workers leaving the Lumiere factory was the world's first moving picture. See, which is the world's first moving picture? Workers leaving the Lumiere factory. Workers leaving the Lumiere factory was the world's first moving picture, which the Lumiere brothers projected to a private audience in Paris on March 22nd, 1895. Thus came the motion picture or moving picture in all its meaning, in all its sense. What is the title of the first motion picture that Lumiere brothers exhibited? Workers leaving the Lumiere factory was the world's first moving picture, which Lumiere brothers projected to a private audience belonging to his friends and other people belonging to their private circle in Paris on March 22nd, 1895. ആദ്യത്തെ ഒരു ചലച്ചിത്രമായി, ഒരു ബ്രീഫ് പിക്ചർ, ഏതാനും സെക്കൻഡുകൾ മാത്രം നീണ്ടു നിൽക്കുന്ന ആ ഒരു ബ്രീഫ് പിക്ചർ ലൂമിയർ ബ്രദേഴ്സ് ആദ്യം പ്രദർശിപ്പിച്ചത് പാരീസിലാണ്, ഒരു പ്രൈവറ്റ് ഓഡിയൻസിൽ. ഇന്ന് മാർച്ച് 22, 1895. എന്തായിരുന്നു അത്? എന്താ വാട്ട് ഷോ? ഇവരുടെ ഫാക്ടറിയിൽ നിന്നും, പാരീസിലുള്ള ഇവരുടെ ഫാക്ടറിയിൽ നിന്നും, ഫിലിം എക്യുപ്മെന്റിന്റെ നിർമ്മാണം നടത്തുന്ന ഫാക്ടറിയിൽ നിന്നും ജോലി കഴിഞ്ഞിട്ട് വർക്കേഴ്സ് ഫാക്ടറി വിട്ട് ഇറങ്ങി വരുന്ന ദൃശ്യം. ഫാക്ടറി വിട്ട് അവർ ഇറങ്ങി വരുന്ന ദൃശ്യം. ഇറ്റ് വാസ് ദി ഫസ്റ്റ് മോഷൻ പിക്ചർ ഷോ മെയ്ഡ് ബൈ ലൂമിയർ ബ്രദേഴ്സ്. ആൻഡ് അനദർ വൺ, the arrival of train at a station. They also exhibited the arrival of train at a station. Then baby's lunch, a little baby having lunch. That is the record of Auguste Lumiere feeding his infant daughter. It is the show of Auguste Lumiere feeding his infant daughter. That is babies. That is the title of the short film, Baby's Lunch. Then the sprinkler sprinkled. It is of immense relevance in the present day. Sprinkler. സ്പ്രിംഗ്ലർ എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാൽ ജലധാര യന്ത്രം. സ്പ്രിംഗിൾഡ്, ഇങ്ങനെ ചിന്നിച്ചെറിയ ജലം വീഴുന്നു. സ്പ്രിംഗിൾഡ്, ആ ജലധാര യന്ത്രത്തിൽ നിന്നും ഇങ്ങനെ വെള്ളം ചീറ്റി വീഴുന്ന ദൃശ്യം. സ്പ്രിംഗിൾ മീൻസ് to scatter, to fall down in a scattered manner. That is what is sprinkle when used as verb. So the short picture's title is Sprinkler Sprinkled are some of the films exhibited by them for a paying audience in Paris. They exhibited all these short films. They showed all these short films before a paying audience. The audience who paid, they charged money for their exhibition. Paying audience in Paris. Thus began the establishment of cinema as an industry. That was the beginning. That was the opening or starting point of cinema as an industry. So this exhibition of short films before a paying audience in Paris by Lumiere Brothers marked the establishment of cinema as an industry, or film as an industry. Remember this. So which were the titles shown by, exhibited by Lumiere Brothers? Apart from workers leaving the Lumiere factory, arrival of train at a station, Baby's Lunch, the Sprinkled. These were the titles of short films exhibited by Lumiere Brothers before a paying audience in Paris, which marked the establishment of cinema as an industry. So at this time, not only in America but in Germany, the Skladanowsky brothers, Max Skladanowsky and Emil Skladanowsky, developed a projector for celluloid film strips called Bioscope. Who developed Bioscope, BIOSKOP or BIOSCOP, Bioscope, a major step in the field of the evolution of a film. The invention of Bioscope, by whom? Skladanowsky brothers, the German Skladanowsky brothers, Max and Emil. In Germany, these Skladanowsky brothers, who are they? Max and Emil developed a projector for celluloid film strips called Bioscope or BIOSC, Bioscope. They projected some of their films in a public performance at Berlin at the city of Berlin, the capital of Germany. They projected some of their films in a public performance at Berlin, Wintergarten, in November 1895. In the year November 1895. So, using the bioscope, they made a public performance. Who? Max and Emil. The Skladanowsky brothers, Max and Emil. They made a public performance using the bioscope in the year 1895 and in November. At which place? At Wintergarten at Berlin. Then a manufacturer of scientific instruments named Robert W. Paul. At this time, a manufacturer of scientific instruments, one who made scientific instruments, named Robert W. Paul. What is his name? What is the name of the manufacturer of scientific instruments? Robert W. Paul. His period was 1869 to 1943. Patented theatograph. Theatograph was a device, was an apparatus like the bioscope. Theatograph. He patented, he got license for his innovation, theatograph. Who? Robert W. Paul. Something very much like, something very similar to bioscope. And finally, projection reached England. This kind of bioscope projection or theatograph projection reached England in 1896. Reached England in 1896. So, who developed the bioscope? The Skladanowsky brothers, Max and Emil. They developed the bioscope, the projector of celluloid film strips called bioscope. They projected some of their films in public performance at Berlin Wintergarten in November 1895. A manufacturer of scientific instruments named Robert W. Paul patented theatograph, and finally the projection reached England by 1896. Then another development. Let us see. C. Francis Jenkins. C. Means Charles. Charles Francis Jenkins is an American inventor. And Thomas Harmat, an American mechanic. C. Francis Jenkins or Charles Francis Jenkins is an American inventor, and Thomas Harmat, American mechanic. Projected, both of them together projected short motion pictures at Atlanta, Georgia, in Georgia state, and in Atlanta, in Georgia, in America, with an advanced kind of stop motion mechanism. They used an advanced type of a developed kind of stop motion mechanism. Stop motion mechanism is a mechanical animation thing used in the movie camera. Stop motion mechanism. So this stop motion mechanism was firstly used by these two people, these two Americans, the American inventor C. Francis Jenkins and the American mechanic Thomas Harmat, and using their advanced apparatus with the stop motion technology or mechanism, they showed some of their short motion pictures. They used their apparatus. How was their apparatus? അവരുടെ ഉപകരണത്തിന്റെ പ്രത്യേകത എന്തായിരുന്നു? അവരുപയോഗിച്ച സ്റ്റോപ്പ് മോഷൻ എന്ന് പറയുന്ന ടെക്നിക്കിന്റെ ഏതാണ്ട് അതൊരു അനിമേഷനാണ് ഈ സ്റ്റോപ്പ് മോഷൻ ടെക്നിക്ക് കൊണ്ട് ഉദ്ദേശിക്കുന്നത്. ആ ഒരു അനിമേഷൻ ടെക്നിക്ക് അത് എങ്ങനെ അവരുപയോഗിച്ചത്? അവരുപയോഗിച്ച ആ ഒരു മൂവി പ്രൊജക്ടർ കം ക്യാമറ, അതിന്റെ പ്രത്യേകത എന്തായിരുന്നു? They used a machine devised by the Latham family in America, known as the Latham loop. ഈ ക്യാമറ ലെൻസിന്റെ മുകളിലും താഴെയുമായി ഓരോ ലൂപ്പുകൾ ഉള്ളത്, അതിനാണ് ലേത്തം ലൂപ്പ് എന്ന് പറയുന്നത്. അതിലൂടെ ഫിലിം ഇങ്ങനെ ചുറ്റിക്കൊണ്ടേയിരിക്കും. ആ ലൂപ്പിലൂടെ, ആ വിടവിലൂടെയാണ് ഫിലിം കറങ്ങുന്നത്. അപ്പൊ അങ്ങനെ വരുമ്പോൾ there is no breakage of the film. ഫിലിം പൊട്ടിപ്പോകത്തില്ല. So the film was safe. The film stock was very safe. when we used the Latham loop. So their advanced technology combined the Latham loop devised by Latham family in America. They used a machine devised by Latham family called or known as Latham loop. The advanced technology used by Francis Jenkins and Thomas Hermat was the device with two loops above and below the projection lens. There were two loops above, one above and another below the projection lens. Projection lens allowed the projection of longer films. What was the advantage of using these loops? So it allowed the projection of longer films without film breakage. Somewhat longer films എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാൽ 3 മണിക്കൂറുള്ള സിനിമകളൊന്നും അല്ല, 15-20 മിനിറ്റുള്ള സിനിമകളൊക്കെ ഈ ഫിലിം പൊട്ടിപ്പോകാതെ ആ ഡിവൈസിലൂടെ, ആ പ്രൊജക്ടറിലൂടെ, ക്യാമറ കം പ്രൊജക്ടറിലൂടെ ഉപയോഗിക്കാൻ സാധിച്ചു. വിത്ത് ദി ഹെൽപ്പ് ഓഫ് ദി ലൂപ്സ്. The device with the two loops above and below the projection lens allowed the projection of longer films without film breakage. Latham loop is used in film projection and image capture. Latham loop is used during the film projection and during the image capture using the films. രണ്ട് പ്രാവശ്യവും ഫിലിം പൊട്ടിപ്പോയി. ഫിലിം ഇമേജ് ക്യാപ്ചർ ചെയ്യുമ്പോൾ ഫ്രെയിംസ് ഓരോന്ന് നമ്മൾ ഫ്രെയിംസിലൂടെ നമ്മൾ ഓരോ ഷോട്ടുകൾ ഇങ്ങനെ എടുക്കുമ്പോഴും അതേപോലെ തന്നെ ഫിലിം എക്സിബിറ്റ് ചെയ്യുമ്പോഴും ഫിലിം പൊട്ടിപ്പോകാതെ സഹായിക്കുന്നതാണ് ഈ ലൂപ്സ്, ലേത്തം ലൂപ്സ്. Latham loop is used in film projection and image capture of images. It isolates the film strip from vibration and tension. You know the loops, Latham loops, separates the film strip from vibration. The film strip does not have a vibration and a tension. So the film strip was quite safe. So longer films could be exhibited by the usage of these loops, these two loops, one above and one below the projection lens. This simple invention of Latham loops contributed to creating prospects of film length and thereby providing capacity for narratives. Narratives means films are telling stories. So naturally such films would be lengthier. Such films could be exhibited with the help of these loops, Latham loops. So this simple innovation, what innovation? The innovation of the loops, Latham loops, contributed to increasing prospects of film length and thereby providing capacity for narratives. അപ്പോൾ ഈ ലേത്തം ലൂപ്സിന്റെ ഉപയോഗത്തിന് ഏറ്റവും വലിയ പ്രാധാന്യം എന്ന് പറയുന്നത് അത് ഫിലിം ലെങ്ത് വർദ്ധിപ്പിക്കാനുള്ള ഒരു പ്രോസ്പെക്ട് നൽകിയെന്ന് മാത്രമല്ല, അങ്ങനെ നാരറ്റീവ്സ് ഉണ്ടാക്കാൻ, ഒരു കഥ പറയുന്ന സിനിമകൾ ഉണ്ടാക്കാൻ, ലെങ്തിയർ ആയിരിക്കുമല്ലോ, കഥ പറയുന്ന സിനിമകൾ ഉണ്ടാക്കാനുള്ള ഒരു സാഹചര്യവും ഒരുക്കി കൊടുത്തു. Then our Thomas Alva Edison, don't forget him. Edison was impressed with this machine and he entered into a scandalous agreement to manufacture Thomas Hermat's machine and supply films for it. Thomas Alva Edison, he was not only an inventor, he was a businessman, a prospective businessman. And he was deeply influenced and impressed with this machine. Which machine? The apparatus with the Latham loops. He was impressed with the machine and he entered into a scandalous, not honorable, not good, not a truthful agreement to manufacture Thomas Hermat's. We already know that it contains not only the effort of Thomas Hermat alone, but there is actually the perspiration or the setting of C. Francis Jenkins. Without C. Francis Jenkins knowing, he entered into a secret, scandalous agreement with the Thomas Hermat to manufacture the apparatus in his company. agreement to manufacture Thomas Armat's machine and supply films for it. And supply films for the apparatus for exhibition. This was a scandalous agreement which Thomas Alva Edison entered into. Without C. Francis Jenkins knowing, he entered into a secret agreement with whom Thomas Armat for the manufacture of the machine and supply films for it. He named the machine. Later, look at the intelligence of Thomas Alva Edison. He gave a new name to this machine. The apparatus containing Latham loops was given a new name by Thomas Alva Edison. What was the name given to it by Thomas Alva Edison? He named this machine as Edison's Vitascope or Vitascope. Vitascope. The new name assigned to this machine, for which he entered into a scandalous agreement with Thomas Armat, was Edison's Vitascope. Edison's Vitascope. The new name assigned to this machine is Edison's Vitascope. And performed the very first public exhibition on April 23rd, 1896 in New York City, using this apparatus named Edison's Vitascope. He made the first public exhibition, not private exhibition, public exhibition on April 23rd, 1896 in New York City. So thus, Edison grabbed the patent of the machine, which were the efforts of Francis Jenkins and Thomas Armat. Thomas Alva Edison entered into a secret and scandalous agreement with Thomas Armat for the production of the machine, and he renamed the machine as Edison's Vitascope. And the first public performance was made on April 23rd, 1896, there in New York City. So once again I am telling you, Vitascope was an early film projector, first demonstrated in 1895, a year back, by Charles Francis Jenkins and Thomas Armat. That is Vitascope. Its patent was grabbed by Thomas Alva Edison and it came to be known as Edison's Vitascope. Vitascope was originally the film projector first demonstrated in 1895 by Charles Francis Jenkins and Thomas Armat. So anyhow, this Edison's Vitascope was considered Edison's greatest marvel, greatest wonderful invention. So this Vitascope was considered to be Edison's greatest marvel, the most wonderful invention by Thomas Alva Edison, and exhibited some crude living pictures. And Edison exhibited some crude living pictures, live pictures, moving pictures, motion pictures, which is satisfied to the taste of the public. Edison patent ചെയ്ത എഡിസൺസ് വിറ്റാസ്കോപ്പ് ഉപയോഗിച്ച് അദ്ദേഹം ഒരു പബ്ലിക് എക്സിബിഷൻ നടത്തി. എന്താണ്? കുറെ ലൈവ് പിക്ചേഴ്സ് അല്ലെങ്കിൽ ചെറിയ മോഷൻ പിക്ചേഴ്സ്, നേരത്തെ നമ്മൾ കണ്ടതുപോലെയുള്ള ലൂമിയർ ബ്രദേഴ്സ് കാണിച്ചതുപോലെയുള്ള ചെറിയ മോഷൻ പിക്ചേഴ്സ്, അതിനേക്കാൾ കുറച്ചുകൂടി ദൈർഘ്യമുള്ള മോഷൻ പിക്ചേഴ്സ്. അതെന്തായാലും ശരി, പൊതുജനങ്ങളെ സംതൃപ്തിപ്പെടുത്തുകയും ചെയ്തു. People were very much satisfied by the exhibition of such a short pictures. എന്തൊക്കെ അദ്ദേഹം കാണിച്ചത്? Through the Vitascope. He exhibited through the Vitascope sea waves. കടൽ തിരമാലകൾ ഇങ്ങനെ അടിച്ചു വരുന്നത്. ബട്ടർഫ്ലൈ ഡാൻസ്. ബട്ടർഫ്ലൈ പോലെ ഇങ്ങനെ ആടകൾ ഇങ്ങനെ ഉയർത്തി ഇങ്ങനെ ഡാൻസ് ചെയ്യുന്ന ഒരു പെൺകുട്ടിയുടെ മനോഹരമായ ഡാൻസ്, ബട്ടർഫ്ലൈ ഡാൻസ്. ദി ബാർബർ ഷോ. a boxing bout, a boxing scene, a boxing bout. Then skirt dance. കഥകളിക്കാരുടെ പാവാട പോലെയുള്ളത് ഇങ്ങനെ കറക്കിയുള്ള skirt dance. These were the short films exhibited through his Vitascope, Edison's Vitascope. Which were the titles of the films? Sea Waves, Butterfly Dance, The Barber Shop, A Boxing Bout, Skirt Dance. Then the Bar Room, where some of the important titles exhibited. These were a series of animated photographs. Actually, these were short motion pictures, animated photographs, which had no connection in meaning from one scene to the other. Actually, these were all together exhibited. These were all together shown, and these pictures or scenes had no connection in meaning to the other scene. They had no congruency or coherence or connection between scenes. But the public were very much satisfied. They were really satisfied. The Americans were really satisfied by the exhibition. So these were rather a series of animated photographs which had no connection in meaning from one scene to the other towards the end of the 19th century, towards the close of the 19th century. Almost all the technological requirements for recording and the projection of films were discovered. Anyhow, by the end of 19th century, almost all technological requirements, needs for recording, capturing and the projection of films were discovered. By then, the Latham device had extended the length of the cinema to approximately 16 minutes. The Latham device is Edison's Vitascope. So by the close of the 9th century, the Latham device or the new Edison's Vitascope extended the length of the cinema to approximately 16 minutes. ഏതാണ്ട് സിനിമയ്ക്ക് ഒരു 16 മിനിറ്റ് ദൈർഘ്യം വരെ ആകാമെന്നായി. ആദ്യമൊക്കെ ലൂമിത ബ്രദേഴ്സിന്റെ എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാൽ സെക്കൻഡുകൾ മാത്രമുള്ള വെരി വെരി ഷോർട്ട് മോഷൻ പിക്ചേഴ്സ് ആയിരുന്നുവെങ്കിൽ വിറ്റാസ്കോപ്പിലൂടെ ആദ്യം കാണിച്ച ചിത്രങ്ങൾ കുറച്ചുകൂടി ദൈർഘ്യമുള്ളതാണ്. പക്ഷെ അവസാനമായപ്പോഴത്തേക്കും ടെക്നോളജീസ് ഒക്കെ അഡ്വാൻസ്ഡ് ആയപ്പോഴത്തേക്കും ഈ വിറ്റാസ്കോപ്പിലൂടെ ഏതാണ്ട് 16 മിനിറ്റോളം ദൈർഘ്യമുള്ളത് കാണിക്കാമെന്നായി. എന്നിരുന്നാലും even then, but the idea that camera might tell a story had not been realized. But the very idea that camera can be used for telling stories or making narrative films, that idea had not been realized or materialized. So the emergence of continuous narration happened only with the beginning of the 20th century. The narrative films, narrative movies appeared only by the beginning of the 20th century. So this is the growth and development or beginning and growth of cinema, so which we have discussed through 2 parts. So everything is technological points. Remember everything, dear students. Study well, be happy and stay safe.